On this episode of What Not to Do in Order to Rebrand Yourself, stick around. Now, I did watch the Caresha Please newest episode. I'm going to be completely honest with you from a professional standpoint. It was a bit of a hard watch for me. I'm also going to go ahead and break this out into 3 parts because this is a bit more complex and intricate, and I want to make sure that I'm covering all key points. Now, coming from a professional brand manager that has experience in entertainment and television, experience with handling controversies, rebranding someone, and media training, I'm definitely going to add my tidbits on why this interview didn't really fare well with you all. So we're going to keep it cute in the comments. We're not going to do any bashing. This is for educational purposes only. Caresha is an American rapper and actress most notably known to be a part of the Miami-based girl group City Girls, also featuring American rapper JT, who is connected and are dating Lil Uzi. The girl group started back in 2017, signed to the label QC, and they eventually ended up on solo paths after their last album, Raw, in 2023. Enter Diddy, which in my opinion ultimately became one of the reasonings for their split. Caresha started dating Diddy and or went more publicly back in 2022-ish. Diddy is known as a hip-hop mogul in the industry for over 20 years, and quite literally, Caresha has been showing her devout loyalty to Diddy despite any controversial matters that may surround him. There have been several documented feuds with Caresha and other women, other rappers, her and JT, including a feud between one of Diddy's ex-girlfriends, baby mamas, I believe, don't quote me, named Gina, where Caresha foreshadows, and I found this absolutely disturbing, the types of abuse she knows Diddy is capable of. This is quite historically known or indicative, if you pay attention, of women who are okay with enabling perpetrators, overlooking allegations of abuse, although tangible facts presented, or even participating in said behavior simply because they are benefiting, which is clear. Because Diddy, before selling Revolt, helped elevate Caresha in a lot of areas of her career, including Caresha Please. This is also a great way, strategic way for anybody that has any type of toxic behavior, narcissistic behavior, manipulative behavior, dangerous behavior, in Diddy's favor to have a mouthpiece that can create plausible deniability, which was clear in how she communicated in her most recent interview by saying, and I quote, "I can't speak on something I don't know, and that was not my experience," air quote. Now enter in Santana, who was the interviewer, and I want to be clear on this. As much as Caresha did mention in the beginning of this interview that she was not trying to be strategic, I do feel that this is a strategic move. Reason being is because when you're being interviewed by a friend or you're presenting a friendship that is clear you have long ties with one another, there's a comfortability there, right? There's a trust and that's built to say, oh, since she's talking to her friend, she's definitely going to be able to be comfortable to speak her truth. Here are some reasons, though, that I feel that Santana, although I do like his personality, I just don't feel that he was the best choice, especially if we're looking to try to rebrand yourself away from a lot of negative connotation. The first one being lack of objectivity and professionalism. Santana being Caresha's best friend might lack objectivity expected from someone that is like a professional interviewer or a journalist, okay? Their close relationship could have led to questions that were too lenient or biased. And then that would fail to push deeper or more critical insight into the issues discussed. Audiences might perceive this as a lack of journalistic integrity. Whenever we look at interviews and especially when there's an air of issues in the background, if you will, scandals, we don't want to diminish any of the integrity of that because then that could ruin the credibility of the interviewer. Next area, why Santana wouldn't have fared well as the interviewer in this equation for you all is inadequate exploration of key issues. Santana's approach, in my opinion, interviewing Caresha may have just come across just a bit too informal or superficial. The reason why is there were sensitive topics being talked about: the fallout with JT, the status of her relationship with Diddy, and her also mental health struggles. The lack of in-depth exploration or the follow-up questions that I just wasn't really seeing from Santana could really leave important issues inadequately addressed. This could then lead to feeling that the interview missed critical elements, which it did. My last reasoning on why I just feel that Santana may have just not been the best of choices is the potential for perceived bias or favoritism. This is this man's best friend. There is a friendship between them, okay? And just based off of that alone, there could be a perception of favoritism or bias. This could even affect the audience's view of the interviewers, fairness to the situation, making it seem less objective. Or Caresha's experiences seem more friendly, like a chat, avoiding challenging questions or uncomfortable topics. We don't want to do this. Now, you know who would have probably been really good for this? I'm going to give you a few, okay? Charlamagne the God. The reason being, he's a seasoned radio host and interview. Charlamagne the God is known for incisive questioning, okay? And his ability to actually handle sensitive topics with tact. His experience with controversial subjects, he's established a reputation for asking tough questions. And we've seen that time and time again on The Breakfast Club. Another player that would have been good for this interview would have been Ebro Darden, okay? In my opinion, Ebro Darden, he's a prominent radio personality and interviewer as well. He has a pretty good reputation for insightful and sometimes provocative questioning, but his experience covering a wide range of topics and his ability to actually delve into complex issues might have actually provided a better exploration of Caresha's experiences and current issues. If you're familiar with Ari Melber, host of MSNBC's The Beat with Ari Melber. Yeah. Ari Melber, yeah. He's known for his analytical interviewing style. And I really like the capacity into which he delves into complex issues. His experience with high-profile interviews and his skill in probing deeply into topics really could have facilitated a more substantive conversation about Caresha's various issues. Another good one, Nadeska Alexis. Come to the front. Nadeska would have been a really, really good addition to this interview. As the host of Complex News, she has a background in handling celebrity interviews and with a focus of context and depth, okay? Which is what we needed in this actual interview. Her ability to actually address both personal and industry-related questions and balance that approach could really have helped in exploring Caresha's experiences a bit more comprehensively. What I will say is I could actually see Santana in this avenue. If you're trying to rebrand Santana, I'm speaking directly to you, this would be a really good avenue. But here are some areas of improvement that I would definitely give to you if you are going to continue down the path of being an interviewer. First thing, objectivity. Stay away from the objectivity of how close your personal relationships are with people. A good interviewer needs to maintain neutrality, especially when discussing sensitive topics, so that you're ensuring balance and impartial questioning. Next area I need you to improve in is your depth of questioning. What was missing? Some of your questions were very surface level, which missed the opportunity to actually deeper explore some of Caresha's issues. How do we improve on that? Need you to ask more probing, insightful questions. This is only going to come from preparation of the questions that you're being asked. And it would provide a more comprehensive understanding of the interviewee's experience and perspective. This next thing, a lot of people struggle with. Ability to manage sensitive topics. Santana, what you were missing here. I could tell you were struggling to handle the delicate topics of the Diddy allegations and Caresha's mental health with necessary nuances that are very much needed. The improvement here, a good interviewer needs to be able to navigate sensitive subjects, okay? Ensuring that the conversation remains, respectful and balanced. But we need to know how you manage sensitive topics. The next area in being a good interviewer is really understanding and or separating and or balancing your personal relationship with your professionalism. The personal relationship between Santana and Caresha can lead and or may have even led to a lack of critical questioning, which was necessary in this interview, right? This is the first time that we're seeing you since God knows how long, finally speaking on your platform and telling your air quote truth, as you said, even though it was very much devoid of that. Balancing a personal relationship with the need for professionalism and unbiased questioning is essential for a fair interview. The last thing I'm going to touch on that he could have improved, Santana, your ability to address and clarify contradictions. There was absolutely a lack of follow-up on inconsistencies or contradictions in Caresha's responses. One of them specifically that kind of light bulbed for me is when you asked her if she has ever experienced any type of domestic violence in her own relationship with Diddy. And she strategically did not answer that question directly to say yes or no. She trailed off into something else. You, as the interviewer, should have re-followed up with that question. Addressing and clarifying contradictions helps in providing a fuller picture and ensures that all aspects of the interviewee's responses are thoroughly explored. Let's switch gears here. Let's talk about why the audience didn't fare well with Caresha and her response. First one's first, lack of depth in addressing mental health. I really felt like this was just surface level touched on. As someone that has also advocated very heavily for mental health, interpersonal development, and all the like, Caresha's brief and emotional mention, if you will, of her mental health struggles, stating she's all over the place, air quote. This may have felt superficial to viewers. Her quick transition from tears to other topics without a deeper exploration of her mental health challenges could leave you guys feeling like the subject was not handled with the necessary seriousness or detail. Detail is very important. The next area that I can definitely see that didn't fare well was the evasive comments on Diddy. Caresha, your remarks about your relationship with Diddy, particularly your denial of experiencing abuse and your vague references to the allegations, this was very insufficient and evasive, okay? Viewers may even have expected a bit more thorough of a discussion given the seriousness of the allegations against Diddy, but your failure to actually provide clear answers or engage really in the topic in a substantive way was very unsatisfactory. Not only was it not satisfactory, but Caresha, you even took the liberty to invalidate other victims that have tangible evidence and evidence that has come out to the public to say, oh, that's not my lived experience. He's never done that. And of course you would say that because some of the implications, some of these lawsuits actually implicate you in the interim. I felt like this was very distasteful and could really, really make or break her brand in a way that now makes her audience question, what do you stand for? You're not a girl's girl, or you're not appearing to be. So what exactly is it that you stand for? The next area I feel like did not fare well with the audience was her ambiguous explanation of the fallout with her and JT. The way in which Caresha described her fallout with JT as not all good and not all bad, and her remarks about the situation becoming personal and creating division, I don't know. This seemed vague and non-committal. This ambiguity might have frustrated the viewers and the fans who were hoping for a clear understanding of the split between the two of them, right? Why is there a rift? Particularly regarding the impact on their professional and personal relationship. So, yeah. This next area was very interesting to me because it kind of falls in line with the JT. Her passive stance, Caresha's passive stance on JT versus the Cardi B feud. Caresha's decision to actually distance herself from JT and Cardi and that whole feud, and her comments about not being involved or featured on the remix, right? This could appear as a lack of support for her group member. You know, viewers, fans, supporters could even become disappointed by her passive stance, expecting a little bit more solidarity or engagement in addressing the public feud and its implications. This last piece, I think, is kind of falls in line with the evasive comments on Diddy, but confusing messaging about relationship status with Diddy. Caresha's rapid shift, because as I was watching this 30-minute interview, Caresha's rapid shift from discussing her past relationship with Diddy to focusing on her career, I don't know. This may come across as a bit disjointed, and it kind of confused me. You know, her attempt to clarify her current status with Diddy while also reflecting on his positive influence on her career could definitely seem contradictory or insufficiently explained. Okay. This is going to leave you guys as the audience very uncertain about the true nature of their relationship and its impact on her life and career, which is why I'm seeing a lot of murmurs in the comments and the things that I'm observing where people are saying, she might not be public about it, but I still feel like she may be dating Diddy in the background. Now, I'm all about solutions, right? We gave Santana some solutions. We're going to give Miss Caresha, some solutions. Before you get up to deal with any type of scandals, here's some areas that you need to focus on. If you're going to talk about mental health, prepare a comprehensive mental health discussion, okay? Caresha, I need you to prepare a more in-depth and structured discussion about your mental health if you're going to speak on that. This could involve having a mental health professional, okay, or an advocate join the conversation. Let's get Let's get a mental health advocate on the interview, okay, to provide a more nuanced and supportive dialogue. Well thought out plan for discussing mental health would show that to your audience, you're addressing it seriously and responsibly. Next, I need you to develop a clear talking point on controversial topics, okay? Before your interviews, Caresha, you need to have developed clear and concise talking points regarding any sensitive topic, like your relationship with Diddy and your fallout with JT. This would help ensure that when you address these issues transparently and consistently, it's going to reduce the risk of misunderstandings or perceived evasiveness, which was very apparent in this interview. Now, I have seen interviews with JT and Caresha before on Caresha Please. So before I go into this next point, I just feel like this would have been very important to assisting her rebrand and assisting kind of bridging the gap with what is the relationship with you and JT. And that would have been coordinating with JT and other key figures. Caresha could have coordinated with JT and other relevant parties before the interview to ensure that she presented a more unified or at least respectful stance on their relationship. This would help manage public expectations and it would avoid further fueling rumors or conflicts. Let's get a roundtable discussion going. Yeah, let's get a roundtable discussion going. This next area of solution kind of goes hand in hand with media training, but preparing responses for key controversies. You need to be able to anticipate potential questions and preparing well thought out responses for key controversies, especially if they are current, okay? Such as the JT versus Cardi B feud would have allowed Caresha to address these issues with clarity and assertiveness. This preparation would have demonstrated that she actually engaged with the topics and has considered her position very carefully. So to wrap this all up in a bow, before you get on your next big interview, and this goes out to even everybody, not just Caresha, not just Santana, not just any celebrities, prep your key messages. I need you to anticipate tough questions and think about how you're going to address them. Use specific language rather than vague phrases. For example, instead of saying, I'm all over the place, try, I'm navigating some complex emotions. I'm working on strategies to manage them effectively. This way, you show that you're handling things with insight and care. So remember, folks, a good interview can make or break your brand. Choose your interviewer wisely. Be clear and specific in your responses. And always be prepared. Yeah.